What is up, guys? This is another reaction video. Yes, we've been pumping out loads of reaction videos recently.
As you can see, my hair hasn't changed.
Yeah, and I'm still
You
wearing the
guys
same
might
clothes.
jump, yeah.
Today, this is another interesting video, just like all the others. And we're gonna go back in time. We're gonna go back to the 1950s, and we're gonna be, well, David's gonna be reacting because I've already seen it. This is an infomercial about homosexuals.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting how they describe homosexuals, but
Ready?
That looks innocent enough, doesn't it? Lots of young people hitchhike. Seems like a good way to get from one place to another. But sometimes there are dangers involved that never meet the eye. Let's take the case of Jimmy Barnes. Jimmy played baseball all afternoon and he didn't feel like walking home, so he decided to thumb a ride.
because that's pretty normal, isn't it? This hitchhike random.
He'd done it 100 times before, and he didn't think anything was unusual when the driver struck up a friendly conversation. In fact, he seemed like a real nice guy. He asked Jimmy if he played baseball in the park often. Jimmy told him they practiced 3 times a week and played a rival group on Friday afternoon. The stranger was a good listener, too, and it only seemed minutes before they pulled up in front of Jimmy's house. When Jimmy got out, the stranger gave him a friendly pat. Then he told him he'd see him again, as he always drove by the park on his way home.
I wonder why.
Jimmy hadn't enjoyed himself so much in a long time. Then during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures. Jimmy knew he shouldn't be interested, but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick. A sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious. A sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual. A person who demands an
Sick
intimate
mental sickness.
relationship with members
He
of
said it
their
was
own
contagious
sex.
as well.
I heard.
But by now, Jimmy felt a fondness for Ralph, and they continued to go places together. Ralph was generous and took Jimmy many interesting places and did many nice things for him.
Necessarily.
He bought presents and even gave him money. But payments were expected in return. You see, Jimmy hadn't recognized Ralph's approach soon enough. When Ralph first asked Jimmy to go fishing alone, he should have discussed it with his parents or teacher. Finally, Jimmy told his parents, and they reported it to the juvenile authorities. Ralph was arrested, and Jimmy was released on probation in the custody of his parents. But all homosexuals are not passive. Some resort to violence, as in the case of Mike Merrick. In the heat of competition, no one noticed the man who sat and watched. And when the game broke up and the others left, Mike decided to stay and practice a little longer.
Yeah, Mike, you should go. I don't know, we all practicing.
The stranger joined him. He was friendly and, well, it was better than playing alone. But after a few shots, Mike realized he had already overstayed his time and suggested he better leave. The stranger told him if he'd like to stay longer, he'd be glad to drive him home when they finished. Sounded great
The
to
real
Mike.
question is,
Chance to
what are
play
you doing
longer
with
and get a ride
a
home
suit and a
too.
bow tie, sitting in the park, just chilling?
He's homosexual, isn't it?
That doesn't make. That doesn't.
Hey,
That doesn't.
but
Oh, that doesn't explain anything.
going by what this advert is, this whatever is saying,
That's true.
that logic's correct.
Ah, you got a point. You got a point.
The stranger told him he'd make a fine player someday if he got lots of practice. The companionship, the praise, the friendly attitude dispelled any misgivings Mike might have had about going with a stranger. He probably never realized until too late that he was riding in the shadow of death. But sometime that evening, Mike Merrick traded his life for a newspaper headline. Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexuals. Bobby and his friends hadn't noticed the man who had been in the restroom when they changed. And as it was late, he suggested they take the shortcut under the pier, but the others preferred to take the more traveled way home.
So coming to the infomercial, you just see gay people just hanging.
When Bobby recognized the stranger as the man in the restroom, the shortcut under the pier didn't seem like a good idea at all. After all, it's more fun to stay with your friends anyway. Bobby had made a wise decision. It may have saved his life. One never
saved his
knows
life,
when a
you know.
homosexual is about.
Wow.
It may appear
Oh
not,
my gosh,
and it
man.
may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill. So keep with your group, and don't go off alone with strangers unless you have the permission of your parent or teacher.
There you have it. That's a infomercial of homosexuals
Oh,
back in
America.
the 1950s.
It's America?
Yeah, well, that's how it was back in the 1950s.
Yeah.
There are actually so many more different infomercials. Like there's some about how a guide for women on how to undress in front of your husband. Yeah, there's others like women in the workplace, marriage. Just so many different like weird infomercials. There's one about dating, which just made no sense whatsoever. Hey, we. And on that note, guys, tell us in the comment section down below what you thought of this infomercial, and we'll catch you guys in a bit.